Welcome all to yet another video. Dr. RS and you on the science of cosmetics and personal care products. Today we are in part 124. We will discuss about skin texture. Again, this part is a revision and key points from parts 2 to 120 of the set of videos that I have already posted. So this is a revision on skin texture. Right? We will. So, skin, right? The skin, the entire structure of the skin can be divided into 4 regions: epidermis, dermis, hypodermis, and fascia. So, epidermis contains various layers from stratum corneum to stratum germinatum, stratum spinosum. We will discuss in the next slide. We will expand the epidermis and then we will discuss about it. Then the dermis contains very important part, the hair follicle, the sebaceous gland, the eccrine sweat gland, apocrine sweat gland, and some of the sensory receptors, all those things are blood vessels. So these dermis is a very, very important part also. Then the hypodermis. Hypodermis composed of lipid cells, so it gives cushioning effect to the skin, and fascia. Fascia is a band of sheet of connective tissue, primary collagen. What it does is it separates skin from the muscles and internal organs of the body, right? So that is. Then we have sweat gland. Then Ruffini corpuscle. It records low frequency vibration that responds to skin touch. These are all sense of touch, right? Then we have lymph vessel, vein and artery for blood circulation. Then we have the nerve fibers, papillae of hair. What are papillae of hair? These are protrusions of dermal connective tissues, and hair papillae is very, very important for the hair growth cycle. Then we have the hair follicle. Then we have the Pacinian corpuscle, which is another sensory receptor for vibration and deep pressure. Then we have the sebaceous gland, which secretes sebum. Then we have reticular layer of epidermis. It's not shown in this picture, but this reticular layer is composed of elastin and collagen fibers, right? That gives elasticity to the skin. Then rector pili muscles. These muscles, they are muscles at one end. There are tiny muscles attached to the base of the hair follicle at one end and to the dermal tissue on the other. Okay, so this muscle, this helps in controlling the temperature of the skin. Right now. The dermal papillae. Again, dermal papillae is the protrusions of dermal connective tissue. Right. Then we have the stratum basilae. Then we have the stratum basilae, stratum spinosum. Right. Stratum germinatum. Then the pigment layer. Then the stratum corneum. Then we have the sweat pore. Then the hair shaft, right? The sweat pore, the hair shaft, the mesenous corpuscle. The mesenous corpuscle transmits the sensation of fine discriminative touch and vibrations, right? These are all sense of touch, right? So these are the broadly the structure of the skin, right? Okay, now we will look into the epidermis into little more detail. So epidermis contains an outer layer. It's called stratum corneum. This is also called as horny layer. Okay, stratum corneum is very, very important part of the skin. It's a dead skin layer. Okay, dead skin cells filled with keratin proteins, right? Keratin is a very, very important protein, both in hair and skin, right? So stratum corneum is one part of the skin which is dead cells, right? And stratum corneum is very important, and its integrity is very important, and it's a barrier layer to the skin. And any damage to the stratum corneum can affect the whole skin, right? So stratum corneum is very, very important. When we discuss about moisturization, we will come back to stratum corneum, right? Then the next layer is stratum lucidum. Okay. Stratum lucidum is a transparent layer of keratinocytes, and it is present only in the palms and soles, right? And it reduces the friction between stratum corneum and stratum granulosum, right? Stratum granulosum contains lamellar granules of keratophyllin, which are precursors of keratin, right? So they contain keratophyllin. Then stratum spinosum, 8 to 10 layers of cells, also known as pickle cell layers. Keratinization begins at stratum spinosum, right? The stratum spinosum also contain Langerhans cells, which we will see later. Langerhans cells which contribute to the immune function of the skin. Then the stratum basilae. Stratum basilae is the deepest layer, also called as keratinocyte stem cells. Keratinocytes produces keratin, right? So it's basically the keratinocytes are generated at stratum basilae. Then this layer, this is stratum basilae, and this layer is the dermo-epidermal junction, where some important melanocytes are present there. Melanocytes produce melanin pigment, the skin darkening pigment, melanin. So melanocytes produces melanin, right? When we discuss about skin lightening and sun, we will talk more about melanocytes. And there is another cell called Merkel cells. This is close to the nerve ending, receives sensations of touch, right? So now the skin is always dynamic. The new cells are formed, the old cells come out, then it's the old cells, dead cells are removed, the new cells are formed. It takes 4 to 6 weeks for this old cell to go out and new cells to come out, right? So the skin is not a static thing, it's a dynamic thing happening in the skin, right? So it peels off, the outermost stratum corneum peels off, come out, the new cells are formed, and this equilibrium has to be maintained. Otherwise there will be a build-up of dead cells in the outermost layer. The skin can become rough and can lose its integrity. So this equilibrium has to be maintained, and always remember that skin is not static, it's dynamic. Okay, the new cells come out, the old cells exfoliate. It's called exfoliation. The old cells exfoliate, right? Then in the epidermis, if you see, there are certain things, certain important appendages. Apocrine sweat gland, eccrine sweat gland, two type of sweat gland. Apocrine sweat gland is formed after puberty, right? The pure apocrine sweat has no odor, but the decomposition product of apocrine sweat has odor, right? So that causes the body odor. So apocrine sweat gland is active only after puberty. That is why children, they don't have the body odor. Only adults have the body odor. Eccrine sweat gland is active from the birth. So it secretes the sweat. The composition is mostly electrolytes, and the sweat that controls the body temperature, right? So eccrine sweat gland, apocrine sweat gland, we will see more about it when we discuss about prickly heat and body odor. Then sebaceous gland. Sebaceous gland secretes sebum. Every hair is associated with sebaceous gland. So sebaceous gland secretes sebum, which comes through out through sebaceous duct. Okay, so the problems associated with some of these glands, we will discuss later when we discuss about individual conditions. So when you see a cross section of the skin, right? See, this is the stratum corneum, right? The stratum corneum. We have the fibroblasts. Fibroblasts produces elastin and collagen fibers. Then we have the melanocytes in the dermo-epidermal junctions. We have the Langerhans cells, which contributes to the immune function of the skin. So this is a cross section of the skin under microscope, right? This is the stratum corneum. It's one layer, which is the dead cell layer of the skin, and it's a very, very important layer. Its integrity is important for the overall health of the skin. Stratum corneum, horny layer, okay, barrier layer. Okay, thank you for listening to me. Thank you. Good luck.